This episode of Marijuana Today Daily is brought to you by the good folks over at Dipstick Vapes, makers of the innovative Dipper Vaporizer, which you can use as a traditional vape pen, which allows you to just pack and go, or with a quick and easy swap of the Dipper's ceramic tip, you can transform it into what best can be described as a magical vape straw, which can be used to heat up and consume concentrates directly. That's one of the things that Dipper fans really appreciate about this very cool cannabis consumption device. It flexes to fit your lifestyle. Don't spend money on vaporizers that are just one thing or the other when you can expand your options with the super versatile Dipper. Save 15% off the cost of the already affordable Dipper by using the discount code MJ today over at dipstickvapes.com. And to double up the awesome, Dipstick is donating however much money you save directly to our friends over at Students for Sensible Drug Policy. That's a win-win-win. One more time, just open up dipstickvapes.com and use the discount code MJ today to save yourself 15% off your order of a Dipper. Big thanks to everyone over at Dipstick Vapes for supporting today's news. Good morning, Marijuana Nation. It's Monday, July 16th, 2018, and you're tuned in to episode 528 of Marijuana Today Daily. I'm your host, Shay Gunther, and I'll be walking you through today's marijuana news and headlines. As always, we have a full and busy day of cannabis news in our hands, so let's jump right into it. Our top story of the day and the week starts us off in New York State, where on Friday, a report was released that was commissioned by the Office of Governor Andrew Cuomo that found that the positive benefits of legalizing adult use marijuana far outweigh any negative consequences. The 75-page report is developed by the state's Department of Health and estimates that the state could generate between $250 and $677 million in tax revenue just in the first full year of legality. Tom Angel has a good write-up of the report over at Forbes, which I'd suggest you pop over to for the full read. Though there isn't anything binding or final attached to the report, it certainly will act as a catalyst for change and political cover for New York politicians to further cannabis drug reform. Good news all around on this one. Another big bit of news breaking late last week was an endorsement made by the Wine and Spirits Wholesalers of America, one of the nation's most powerful political lobbying groups of adult use marijuana legalization. The trade group made its announcement on Friday, laying out the conditions under which it thinks the cannabis industry would operate best. It shouldn't surprise you that the model they favor is the one that mimics how alcohol is distributed, which relies on a three-tier system that separates companies that make alcohol from those that buy it, with a middle layer of booze distributors. This is a significant development, as traditionally big alcohol has not been very progressive when it comes to cannabis policy, likely because of fears of competition. But as legalization becomes more and more of a sure thing, alcohol companies seem to be waking up to the fact that they better start making some moves now to survive, including outright buying into marijuana companies, as Constellation Brands, makers of Corona beer, did earlier this year by purchasing a 10% stake in licensed producer Canopy Growth. Wrapping up our top stories today is a swing out to the Golden State, where on Friday, California cannabis regulators released a new draft of the rules and regulations that will govern the state's legal cannabis industry. The full set of rules is 315 pages long, so the analysis on the new text is still fairly shallow and developing, but in short, the new set of rules do make some big changes to how California cannabis will work. One of the biggest items is the fact that a loophole allowing for the aggregation of multiple cultivation licenses was left in. Another big change is a rule allowing for statewide legal cannabis delivery. Right now, cities and municipalities in California can choose to ban delivery, something that will no longer be possible under the new guidelines. This is definitely a story you want to read in full, especially if you're actually working out west. As always, we have all the news we cover linked to on our website at mjtodaydaily.com and on our Twitter account at mjtodaydaily. Those are our top stories for today. It's time for Marijuana Today Daily Headlines Blitz. Before we blitz it in headlines, let's quickly thank our sponsor, Dipstick Vapes, makers of the innovative Dipper Vaporizer, the perfect companion for all your mid-summer adventures. The Dipper is the perfect thing to bring along whenever you can, whether you're going on a long hike in the woods, to your friend's barbecue, or maybe even on a gondola ride. The Dipper is valued by its customers for having the flexibility that will allow you to use it as both a traditional pack-and-go vape pen, as well as a vape straw, which lets you consume concentrates directly off a dish. Open up your legal cannabis consumption options this fine summer season by getting yourself a Dipper Vaporizer. And if you have a cannabis dispensary or shop, you really need to be stocking the dipper on your shelves, where they probably won't last long before being scooped up by your customers. Swing over to dipstickvapes.com to get your own dipper and to learn more about selling the dipper at your shop or dispensary. Use the discount code MJ today to save yourself 15% off the cost of the already affordable dipper and to generate a donation of that same amount to our friends over at Students for Sensible Drug Policy. You can order your dipper and learn about becoming a dipper reseller over at dipstickvapes.com. That's dipstickvapes.com. All right, time for the Blitz. The Chicago Sun-Times is reporting that the number of cannabis-related arrests in the city of Chicago has dropped by huge amounts over the last 7 years, but that the people still getting arrested are most likely to be black. In 2001, an astounding 21,000 marijuana-related arrests were made by Chicago police. Thanks to some progressive policy changes, that number dropped to just 129 by last year. In 2017 and through the first 4 months of this year, a total of 94 people were arrested in Chicago for small-time possession charges, but just 2 of those folks were white. The city of Oakland, California has been expending a lot of time and energy over the last year or so in developing and rolling out a program for cannabis entrepreneurs that seeks to level the playing field for people from communities that have been most negatively impacted by the government's war on marijuana. I've covered the city's equity program a number of times here on the show, which lays out ways for people with arrest records for cannabis crimes and those living in areas with historic high arrest rates for marijuana crimes to get help in establishing cannabis businesses. The San Francisco Chronicle nicely highlights some places where the equity program appears to be slipping. This is a terrifically important industry-wide issue if there ever was one, so make sure to open this one up for the full read. Zipping up north of the border, we find Health Canada warning legal medical marijuana companies to avoid sponsoring all ages music concerts. We had a recent story in the headlines about how licensed Canadian medical marijuana companies were taking advantage of the fact that rules limiting legal marijuana marketing won't take effect until October 17th. Apparently, some of the officials at Health Canada have also been taking note of that marketing blitz and announced yesterday that it can and will crack down hard on any medical company that sponsors concerts allowing those under the age of 18 to attend. Late last week, legal marijuana regulators in Maryland disabled a piece of software used in their state's legal cannabis industry to monitor how much medical cannabis any one patient is buying from the state's medical dispensaries. Maryland law puts a limit on how much medical cannabis patients are allowed to buy in any given month, and special software was installed to track it. Unfortunately, though, there's something buggy about the code that's been slowing down customer transactions at dispensaries. Officials say the software is being disabled just on a temporary basis while coders work out what could be causing the performance issues. A couple of lawsuits have been filed in Oklahoma seeking to overturn a set of emergency medical marijuana rules voted in last week by the State Board of Health. Among the approved regulations was one banning the smoking of medical cannabis. 2 lawsuits in all were filed by pro-cannabis activist groups, which we'll make sure to keep an eye on. Leafly has an interesting story about a professional poker player who was forced to remove a logo for one of his sponsors, a Las Vegas cannabis dispensary, while competing in the World Series of Poker, which was recently broadcast from the Reno Casino and Hotel. The story highlights the complicated relationship that casinos in Las Vegas have with legal cannabis. The casino industry relies on federal approval to run their operations, and as a result have been pretty adverse to getting involved with legal marijuana. Professional poker player Michael Mizrachi found this out the hard way when he was told he'd have to take off or hide the logo of his sponsor, the Bloom Medical Marijuana Dispensary. Another good one to read in full. Ending today's headlines is Marijuana Moment's Kyle Yeager, who picked up on a new survey of American youth asking about their use of cannabis. According to the survey results, which polled more than 4,000 U.S. teenagers, those living in states with legal cannabis are no more likely to use marijuana than their peers in states maintaining prohibition. The study was published in the journal Drug and Alcohol Review, which you can click over to yourself via Kyle's excellent story. Those are the headlines and news for the day. I'll be back with you again tomorrow morning with another information-packed episode of Marijuana Today Daily. But in the meantime, if you have any stories to share or feedback to give, zip us an email to headlines@mjtodaydaily.com. And while you're clicking around the interwebs, swing over to our Twitter account at mjtodaydaily and visit our website at mjtodaydaily.com to find links to all the news we cover. Thanks to our sponsor, Dipstick Vapes, and to all of our awesome patron listeners for the support that makes this show possible. To join the illustrious ranks of the patron listeners yourself, swing over to our website at mjtodaydaily.com and click on that big blue button at the top of the page that says Become a Patron. I'm your host, Shay Gunther. Thanks for tuning in, starting your day with marijuana today.
One take, Shay. One take.